So, and I wanted to finally start working with like foam armor, so I chose that. I entered a contest with that and did pretty well. I didn't win, but I entered a contest with that dead shot and got a lot of compliments. I had props, foam armor. I had, just me being me, having fun. I choose the characters just based on, does my natural abilities enhance this character? Am I this character? Can I become this person? Like when I put on my Prince costume, like I'm Prince, when I put that fucking costume on. And which by far is my most popular costume is Prince. By far. I've gotten to the point now where I cannot go to a convention and not bust out that goddamn costume, And I want to do other looks for Prince, and I will. I found something in a book, and I'm like, I gotta do that. So yeah, I pick them just based on whether or not these characters can enhance me or I can enhance them. If they're a favorite character of mine, I got some more that I want to do. Some cool looks. My Casey Jones is a fucking cool fucking look, yo. Kid Flash, I just debuted that the other day. People like it. I mean, it's kicking. It's great. My Ghostbusters costume. I'm a lifelong fucking Ghostbusters fan, and I got cousins with sons. We about to have a whole legion of Ghostbusters running around this motherfucker because motherfuckers want me to make them costumes. And I'm in it. I'm in it to win it, So, there's that. Next question. What are your favorite comic books? This is a great fucking question. So, and I'm going to dissect this because I've been reading comic books since I was 9 years old. And I'm going to be specific and say what were my favorite storylines and not like my favorite brand of comic books. Because I want to encourage y'all motherfuckers to read these shits and see why I like them so much. Now, I actually remember the very first comic book I ever owned. And I need to go out and I need to find it. It was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 27. That was the first comic book I ever owned. It was the Archie Comics Ninja Turtles, by the way. And it was like a basic throwaway issue. It was like the Ninja Turtles fighting against like a werewolf and shit. And it was cool. It was a cool ass comic. It wasn't like I went out and was like, hey, I'm going to read comic books today. No, my dad came home from the drugstore or whatever, and he had a comic book for me. He had bought me a comic book, and he got my sister something too. And like a lot of my gifts that I received as a child were book related. I had an aunt who bought me a dictionary one year for Christmas, and I read that shit front to fucking back like like I was in prison or some shit. Yeah, so a lot of my shit was in books. And the way comic books are written, it's like you get about 27, 30 pages, and then the story continues the next month. So you gotta kind of keep reading these to get further along in the story. So that's kind of how I got into it. Again, I was like 8, 9 years old. And they were just, it was cool. And for my background, like I'm a middle child. I was a middle child. I was the only boy. So it wasn't a lot I could do. And at this point, when my parents were still together, my male cousins weren't as close to me as they were, like physically living close to me as they were when we moved away to my grandma's house. So a lot of times I spent in my room or whatever. Chicago's cold. You don't always fucking go outside. I'm in my room, keeping to myself. I'm either reading something, playing with my action figures and shit, and it's like that. So, comics gave me another window to like another world. Basically I could occupy my time reading these stories about various superheroes because it was something else other than the cartoons that I was watching too. You know how you watch cartoons and you gotta wait next week for the next episode. Well, comic books, it gives me another story. So it's like bonus episodes and shit. And then I still gotta wait, a couple weeks, sometimes a month, for the next issue to come out. So that was always cool. So back to the question, what are my favorite comic books? My favorite comic books are very recent run in the Ninja Turtles and the IDW. What was that storyline called? It was the most recent one. It was like issues 40 through 50. And Bebop and Rocksteady got their shit together and killed Donatello. Splinter beheaded the Shredder and took over the Foot Clan. Michelangelo quit the team. It was a really well written storyline, because keep in mind the Ninja Turtles have been out as long as I've been born, as long as I've been alive. Ninja Turtles came out in 1983, so did I. And and now it's like they're not teenagers anymore in a lot of storylines. They're fully adult now, so they have adult storylines going on. There's like killing going on, which goes back to the originals, by the way, too. So that was always good. So like that IDW run and the Ninja Turtles is one of my favorite storylines ever. Also, God Loves Man Kills. God Loves Man Kills is an X-Men story. It is a standalone graphic novel, and it makes the X-Men what they are today. I actually wrote a thesis on this, based a lot around this comic. It's about like basically how the X-Men are. It's an allegory to how African Americans are treated in America. The X-Men being the proverbial, black people, and basically being shunned and hated just for the way that they were born. It's written by Chris Claremont before he went insane and started writing some of the most crappy storylines ever. And you should check it out. It's called God Loves Man Kills. It is one graphic novel. You can probably find it for like $10. It's awesome. Read it. It's great. Okay, next question. What are your favorite TV shows? Right now, Game of Thrones, baby. Game of goddamn Thrones. And I also like Broad City. Broad City is fucking hilarious. My ex-girlfriend got me into that. That shit is fucking great. That shit is hilarious. But, no, Game of Thrones is my shit. I love it. I've been going back, reading the books, reading up on, like, ancillary history and stuff and all that. Just catching up on it. And I got some Game of Thrones news that I'm not at liberty to talk about right now, but when everything's official, you guys will hear it right here. Probably not first. But, so that's why you should add me on Facebook. But, yeah. Game of Thrones is my shit. I again, like I said, I got it on right the fuck now. Tyrion just walked into another fucking whole house. Now, we're about to get deepity deep inside of Aaron. Aaron, have you ever been in love? Abso-goddamn-lutely. I am 33 years old. I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but I'm in my 30s. That's my I'm a vegan statement, by the way. I don't think a day goes by where I don't remind somebody about how old I am. But, oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've been in love before. Yeah, I've been in love a couple times, shit didn't work, but, we move on. We learn from it. I don't believe that you have one soulmate. I don't. You can have several in a lifetime, and once you've both have outgrown each other, or once you've gotten to the point where you guys can't learn anything or grow with each other anymore, then usually there's a split that's gonna happen. I do get along with the majority of my ex-girlfriends. I do enjoy amicable relationships with most of them. I said amicable. I didn't say that we're all, about to go to Six Flags and have a good ass fucking time or anything like that. No, there's a respectable, there's a level of respect that I have for almost all of my exes. And no, I'll even say all I won't even quantify with almost all. All of my exes have, a valuable amount of respect for me. Those are memories that I have. I don't think I don't, as much as I like joke around about it, And the more I look back on it, though, I don't think I've ever had like a very horrendous, damaging breakup. I mean, I've had some breakups which have absolutely changed me as a person. But, for the most part, I can look back at that as learning experiences. I've learned and I've grown. And I genuinely thank those people for being part of the awesomeness that is my life. So I appreciate that. Some relationships didn't end ideally at all, but, especially on the aftermath on some of them, but you know what? It happens. Shit happens. We live, we learn, we move on, we grow. Everything's cool. I do, in fact, sincerely wish everyone I've ever dealt with the best. So, get out there and get it. What is the relationship like with you and your parents? This one's tricky. This question's tricky. And without giving too much family information, I'm going to just break it down. I have two parents. Let's just break this down in two segments. So, relationship with my parents. So, let's put it like this. I am my parents' second child. I have an older sister, I have a younger sister, and I have a younger brother. I am my parents' second child. For a long time, I am my mother's only son. My father has boys, so I am my mother's only son. I grew up in a very unique childhood, and I'm not gonna say that my childhood was bad at all. That'd be a lie. My childhood fucking rocked, mostly to my own doing, because again, it's my fucking life. I'm gonna enjoy it. My childhood rocked. I loved it. I had friends and all that. Growing up, I wasn't the coolest kid, but I also, I was pretty goddamn cool. Let's put it like that. My relationship with my parents. Now things have changed. There's been some updates to the software. My relationship with my dad is pretty cool. It had some moments where it wasn't. Absolutely. My parents divorced when I was 9. I lived with my mom, throughout my entire childhood, up until I was 18 and I left. I get along with my parents. There's that. First and foremost, I love my parents to death. I don't want anybody to think that I don't love my parents. I have to say that. I love my parents. I do. Do I like them as people? Well, let's talk about that. There's a big difference between love and like. There really is. And I know I sound like a really shitty person when I say something like that. However, fuck you. It's my show. I can say stuff like that because I'm being honest. I love my parents. I do. Do I love everything that my parents have done over the years of my lifetime? No, I don't. Do I hate my parents? Absolutely not. No, I don't. There are some things that I disagree with. There's some things about me that they don't like. We're adults. We can say these things. There's some things about me that my parents fucking hate. There's some things about my parents I fucking hate. However, I'm an adult. And I just want to say this very clearly on this show. We're all adults, and I've been raised to do the things that I want to do by people who do the things that they want to do. I have a very unique saying that I say, and because I'm trying to tiptoe around giving out too much information about what's going on in my life. I have this thing where I say, and it's a very true fucking statement. This is something that I tell people all the fucking time. If you want to do something, you will. If you don't, you won't. So, my relationship with my dad, it's pretty cool. I talk to my dad fairly often, actually. Mom, not so much. I actually haven't spoken to my mom. I talked to my mom yesterday very briefly. However, it's been over a month since I have spoken to my mom. That's by choice. I don't like that I had